and your packages and on-site opportunities also. So the more talent you carry, everything is in your hands. Am I clear on this point? And when you're making the decision, you have to keep in mind about your capacity also. Your capacity, that's a super important. So looking at higher package like E, if you start doing the things unknowingly, then without calculating your capacity, then that will be a disaster. Correct? So E is a very complex one. So you should have time with you, should have the patience with you, should have the grasping power. Everything matters there. Got it now? So when you're taking the decision, please be super clear what you want to do. You want to go with the A, or you want to go with a B, or you want to go with a C. So when you choose a C, definitely you need to learn along with the DevOps. You need to learn AWS or an Azure or a GCP. That is what it matters. Got it now? So that's the thing. Then packages are really good in the DevOps case. So recently, one of the fresher also got 4 lakh package. Recently only, just 1 month ago, 4 lakhs package. And with 5 to 6 years of experience recently, just 2 days ago, she got the offer letter. Another lady, she got 13 lakhs package. I hope I showed this offer letters yesterday in the class for you. So I don't want to waste the time again, but that is what I'm trying to tell you. Packages are good in the market. So companies are ready to pay for talented guys. Simple formula. That's it. So keep that in mind. Yeah. Then move on. And this is the success mantra that you see on the screen. So you take it any course in IT, guys. By simply doing a course, don't assume that job is ready for you. Do you agree with that statement? Simply by doing a course, do you think job is ready for you? This you need to understand, guys, because wrong perceptions will always will not help us at all. That is only a disaster thing. So you have to understand the things well in the life, not about the course, but also about the life. The thing is, course is helping you to grasp the knowledge that is required, right? So I'll tell you in simple formula. You guys might have spent almost like 20 or 21 years, roughly, I would say 20 years of education, correct? Right from first class to the 10th, intermediate, graduation, post graduation. If you head count them, almost like 20 years you spent in education. Now it's a time has come where you have to be super careful, and you have to do, because this is like a platform, guys. You make the decision, stick to the course, grasp the knowledge, think like a semester, work hard, grasp the knowledge. This grasping knowledge will help you to get a job. That's it. 20 years is one set, and this is another set. So you're in a transition period. All the freshers, all the freshers, you are in transition period, guys. So make sure that you complete your course. After completing the course, you have little more work also. You need to do your first revision. It takes 3 to 4 weeks of time. You have to finish off the second revision. It takes 2 weeks of time, and then go ahead and apply on the job portals. That is where success has come. 80% of the my students, I told the same formula to them. 80%, those who got jobs, they followed this principle. Here and there, you'll find some lucky students where they get the jobs while doing the course also. Okay. You'll find some lucky students who get the job after first revision also. But most I'm talking about second revision will work out. Clear now? This is a clear expectation that you need to keep in mind. Even I will remind this point on the last day of your class also. So after completing the course, you again have to spend 6 to 7 weeks of time. You have to focus on revision. Okay. Good. Now, if you're talking about the placement assistance here, so institute got very good more than 100 clients. So regularly we conduct the drives. That is one benefit. Second, you have to apply on the job portals. That is also there. And third benefit is we have a lot of huge old students out there. I would say I have very good head count of old students who have settled down in DevOps career. So they also post their jobs to me, and we maintain a Telegram channel, and you can apply from it as well. So that kind of benefits you have. So end of the day, guys, either from the institute side or from my personal help, you'll definitely get in getting your job. So that's for sure, because that is the objective of your course, no? And this class will be entirely online. Okay. So those are new here. This class will be entirely online, no offline at all, only online this class. And fee structure, I hope you guys know it, but one clarity is required. The fee structure is different for the people who want to take only the online course, and the fee structure is different for the people who is opting for online course along with video recordings also. If you want the video recordings, there is a different fee structure. So for these details, you need to approach the batch admin. Okay. So that's all my discussion that I done yesterday, guys. So as I promised, I finished off my stuff quickly in 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll take all your questions at the end, guys. Got it now? Okay. So let's jump into our DevOps stuff now. No demo tomorrow. I mean to say in the next class, we don't take demo at all. We just go with the session only. Now I want to understand the proportion of the people, guys. So I want to know how many of you are freshers here. Raise your hands, please. Because based on your, because we can't apply the same teaching technique for every batch. Okay, I want to understand how many are freshers. First of all, freshers. That means just passed out this year or last year. Okay, I'll take it for granted around its number is trading around 17. Okay, nice. Okay, it went up to 20. Okay, I'll take it for granted 20. So next point, I want to understand how many are already working in IT. Please raise your hands. Hands down, guys, those who have already given the data. Now let's go with the people who are working in IT. Already working in IT, I'm talking about. So I got 33. Okay, nice. Roughly 33. And I want to understand who are from non-IT background. Hands down, and again, please raise who are non-IT background. I want to understand the proportion before I start my class. Non-IT background, guys. That means not directly working for IT, but non-IT background. Okay, 27. Nice. And I want to understand last categories. Those are entirely new to the computers here. There is no relevance whether you're fresher or experienced or non-IT background. Just you are new to this. Maybe you're a BA or a history or let's say BCom. You don't know anything about IT at all. So I'm talking about entirely new things. Okay, 19. So we have all equal proportion. I see a lot of working people in it. Okay, nice guys. So thanks for giving this data. So let's move on with the subject, guys. Okay, so now the question comes is, so please be super reactive in the chats. If I keep on asking the questions, definitely respond. It is helps the trainer also to be more responsive. Got it? Okay, now the question comes is, we are talking about the DevOps from past yesterday. Now the question comes is, what actually is a DevOps? What actually is a DevOps, guys? So do you think it's a language, or do you think it's a, what you can say, a package, or do you think it's a software? So you have to forgive for my handwriting. The reason is, in few days you'll get habituated to my handwriting, so that's common. So I'm using the pen. Or do you think it's something like a, what you can say? What are the other things, guys? Language, package, software, or do you think it's like a cloud? Do you think it's a cloud? Hmm. And do you think it's a process, or a method, or a procedure, or a strategy? What is the correct, guys? So DevOps is definitely not a language, guys. So remove this perception. So we are not planning to learn any language. So it does not come under language category at all. So that option is gone, right? And how about the package? Is it a package? No, this is also no. It's not a software also. Like we have a lot of softwares in the world, right? So this is not a software at all. Now, do you think it's a cloud? This is one trouble among the students. So do you think it's a cloud, guys? How many of you think that it's a cloud? So the answer is no, it's not a cloud. So this is the biggest thing. So very matured minds will answer say that, okay, DevOps is not a cloud. Okay, unknowingly you'll read a lot of rubbish articles online. They keep on writing that a DevOps is a cloud. That is wrong, right? So DevOps is not a cloud. Okay, so that is different story. Cloud is altogether different story. Now, DevOps comes under the concept of the process, or a method, or a procedure, or a strategy that you have to follow, okay, in your software development process. That's it. In software development process, guys. So when you're trying to produce your software applications, so some process has to be in place, or some method has to be in place, or you can say some procedure has to be in place that we follow, and we produce our software application. And what is the benefit? So first of all, what is the benefit if you follow all these steps? So that means we are trying to follow certain standards here, right? And this standards is helping you to attain something called quality. And the subjective area that deals with this managing the processes, methods, or the procedures, or strategy, that subjective area is classified as SDLC. SDLC. So I hope you studied somewhere in your BTechs. So what is SDLC, guys? In your graduation, all the IT people. So maybe you have heard this SDLC word, correct? So SDLC refers to the software development life cycle. So I repeat once again. So SDLC refers to the software development life cycle. Now, if I want to talk about SDLC, before I talk about SDLC, I want to give you some small example so that you have to catch why this SDLC. Okay. So we're talking about the process now. So I told you that DevOps is a process, or a method, or a procedure which comes under SDLC. So what happened is, if I take an example, right? You consider, I'm going out of concept to make you something understand. Okay. So let's take before Modi government, we had another government. What was his government? I'm going out of concept so that you catch the logic, guys. Who was before Modi? There was some guy. What was that guy's name? I don't know. Some Congress government. But what is that PM Prime Minister name? Manmohan Singh. Yeah. Right. So Modi. Now Prime Minister is Modi. Earlier it was different. See, the parties are different. So let's observe like this. Calculate like this. The party was different. That means they are different. They are following some different process in running the government. And now the Modi has come. He is trying to follow different process. Do you agree with this? That's a small example from politics to make you understand. So nobody is trying to follow the same process. Do you agree, guys? So consider end of the day, either the state government or your national government or your local governments, definitely they also run on certain process in place. They also follow certain process in place, procedure in place to run the government. The same example, you consider the manufacturing companies. You see the manufacturing companies, right? Some iron and steel, or let's take it some cement companies, or let's take it some car companies. So when they are producing their product, they also follow certain process in place or procedure in place so that they are producing their product, right? Well in time. So exactly likewise in the history of IT, right? Way back in 1960s itself, they came up with a thought called SDLC, right? And this SDLC talks about the same process or steps that you have to follow. And historically, we saw that between like 1960s to 1980s, some kind of process was followed. After 1980s to 1990s, some other kind of techniques are followed. After 1990s, roughly 1996, Agile was followed. Roughly after 2010, DevOps has come in the picture. That is what is happening. So that means process are getting changed over the time. The methods are getting changed. The techniques are getting changed. So you can see the example of mobile technologies also, guys. You see 1G, right? You see the 2G, you see 3G, you see the 4G and 5G. Now the question comes is, if I ask you simple logic, why we are trying to migrate from 1G to the 2G to 3G to the 4G? Is there any reason? Is it only the speed matters? Because I got a one point saying that speed. Is it only the speed? Features, yeah. Anything more that you want to add? You have to catch that some logical understandings here. So we say better performance, right? Yeah, quality. I agree. So right. So a lot of points are coming up here, right? So think in reverse engineering style, guys. If everybody was happy with the 3G, do you think 4G is required? We are just thinking other side of the coin. So if everybody were happy with the 3G, then 4G and 5G are not required. Correct? So that means what is happening is here. So technologies, when they come into the market after usage for some time, so definitely we'll come across some problems. That is common, right? Some problems and some concerns will be there. So to overcome that concerns, we are trying to come up with some solution or a fix. And that solution or a fix is altogether coming as an upgradation of new technology. The same thing happened. Historically, we started with waterfall, right? The people were happy till 1985. So this was first SDLC. People were happy. They said everything is going smooth. By 1985, said this is outdated. They want another model. Some other models came. Let's take it as X, Y, Z. All saw the flop story. I'm not taking the names, but you should catch the logic. Some XYZ models came, all flop. Then in 1996, one model came up called Agile, roughly Agile. Okay. And this has been again bumper hit. Now, in the Agile also, we had some concerns. And as a part of solution fixing, DevOps has come in the market. I hope you're understanding the logic, why we are trying to migrate. Always you need to catch what you're learning, guys. So if waterfall was super happy or no problems at all, we don't see the evolution of agile at all, nor we see the evolution of DevOps at all. So waterfall became outdated by 1985. Then agile also served the industry for almost like 20 years, right? So I'll tell you one simple logic also, guys. Everybody thought Sachin Tendulkar was a super cricketer, and we may not see another Sachin at all. Do you agree? I'm talking about 15 years ago story, 10 years ago. So people thought Sachin is a great cricket player, and we may not see another player like him. But what has happened now? Do you found another great player like him? Do you agree, guys? What I'm talking? Yeah, exactly the same logic applies here. So everybody thought Agile is doing great. That is correct. But again, in the Agile, there are some concerns. So that concerns was investigated and thought of providing some solutions. And out of this, what happened is DevOps has evolved. So the person who is primarily responsible for the DevOps evolution is Patrick Debios. His name is Patrick Debios. And the waterfall was invented by a person called Winston. You need to remember these names, guys. Since you are going to be an IT engineers for tomorrow, so at least keep these names in your brain. So waterfall is invented by Winston, and DevOps is invented by Patrick Debios. And Agile was invented by whom? Any guess answers here? Agile was invented by whom, guys? Any clue? Any clue from your side? Okay, so Agile was invented not by a person. We cannot give the credit to the person. The reason is Agile was invented by a group of people, group of teamwork itself. And this came from Agile Foundations. Got it now? So Agile Foundations is responsible for the invention of this model. And all these models comes under the subjective area of SDLC, Software Development Life Cycle. Am I clear so far? Okay, so we are good. So far we are good. Now let's move on and understand how this SDLC evolved. That is where you need to start your subject understanding. So first we'll see how SDLC evolved and how come waterfall was considered as a first SDLC. So what happened in the waterfall, what went positive, what went wrong, and why this some flop stories have came in middle, and again why Agile has become boom, and then only we'll able to get into the DevOps. And the reason we need to look into the history, the simple point is DevOps has solved some problems even which have been there from last 40 years also. That is the reason. So there were some problems where in IT industry from last 40 to 50 years also, models could not fix it. DevOps has able to provide the solution now. So that is the reason historical data is required to quickly grasp your DevOps knowledge. Okay, good. Fine. Let's talk about the understanding of what is this evolution of SDLC, how it evolved, and we'll see the definition of SDLC. Okay, good. So when was the computer invented, guys? When was the computer invented? Rough, give me the rough year. Rough time period also is fine for me. So 1962, why? How come the World War I, World War II, you saw some computers being used? See guys, you see some old movies also, or some old historical Discovery Channel, some videos will come where you'll see that, okay, some World War I, World War II kind of things, they'll show that they are using some telephones, computers, everything, right? So even before 1960s also it was there. Okay, so we'll not go into the historical details, not require chronology. So modern computer was considered as around 1887. Roughly 1887 was the year when considered as invention of modern computer. And who is the father of your computer? Father of computer science, who is that guy? We have to start from there. So who is the father of computer? So I got answers like Charles Babbage. Yeah. I also got funny answer like Steve Jobs. I also got funny answer like Charles Cabbage. Why Charles Cabbage? So, so the guy who invented this computer, father of computer science here, Charles Babbage. So you need to keep this in mind, guys. Charles Babbage, father of computer science. What happened is, so from this period till 1962, roughly, between this period, the computers that have been created or the machines that have been created, right? They have been only limited. They have been limited only to the use case of government, military, and science and technology field. That's it. So this was a limitation. So the computers that have been used between 1887 to 1962, right? Common man did not had a right to buy it. Common man did not had, guys. So whatever the computers they have been produced, they are limited to the use case of the government, military, and science and technology. So what happened is, first time in 1962, this happened in US. So US government gave approval for the production of the computers even to the commerce community now. Commerce community and also to the commoner, that means common people like you and me. So you can say it is now public, right? So that happened in 1962. So commerce industry or retail came into the market and also given access to the community now. So that has happened in 1962. Soon the government gave approval. So a lot of companies got established. That's the reason you see around 1960s, you'll see a lot of IT companies founded. This is one gimmick. You need to know all this historical data. So 1960s, you see most Deloitte, you just check a lot of companies historical data, they'll see that they evolved around 1960s and 1970s only. Okay. So their birth dates you'll see around 1960s and 70s. So what happened is, so once the government gave approval, now large scale production of computers started with a brand name called personal machines, personal computers. PCs we used to call personal computers. And these computers which are delivered to their clients, right? So let's take it as A company, let's take it as B company, let's take it as C company, right? What they used to do is, they used to send the computer to their client with installed 2 or 3 applications. In those times, guys, you used to have only 2 or 3 applications installed, not more than 2, not more than 2 or 3. But today it is unlimited capacity. But in those days, it was hardly 2 and 3 applications. And what these guys used to do, propaganda. So A is to say that B and C are incorrect, and A is to say that I produced the applications following some 10-step process. some 10-step process. And B will say that I produce the application for my computer. They used to produce the apps for their machines, guys. And they used to say that A and C are incorrect, and my process of, let's say, 7 steps is correct. And C is to come out and say that, okay, A and B are incorrect, and I followed some 15-step process to produce applications. So what happened is, so by 1960s or 67, 68, a confusion got created in the market that everybody are doing producing the applications on their will and wish. There is no common standard. They are producing the applications on their will and wish, and whatever they are saying, they say that I am right, I am right. So what happened in 68, a working group was formed. This is what the story started. A working group was formed in IT industry to determine the standards that are required to produce the applications. This is the earliest story started. This is how the journey started. 1968, a working group was formed in USA to determine some standards that you have to follow or we have to follow in producing the applications. The reason is, till the time, every company was trying to produce applications in their own will and wish, and there are no common standards. If the standards are not in place, there is one critical metric which takes a hit. What is that, guys? When no standards are uniform, there is one thing that will miss. What is that? Tell me, guys. Guess the answer. When no standards are in place, we'll face one problem. What is that? Quality. Yeah. We cannot determine the quality at all. See, very important logic, guys. Forget about computers, just normal life also. You see, go into the market. So we define that product as quality based on standards only. Am I right? You agree, guys? Based on standards only, we define something or we perceive something. Okay, this has to be maintained. If that is in place, then we agree that quality is in place. So that is what is happening. So in 68, a working group was formed to determine the IT standards. What this group has done, so this group started auditing lot of models across the world. They came across lot of models. Lot of models they audited. So they came across a model called 1968. You have to imagine this is a working group time. And they started auditing lot of models because they are incent, or you can say they are young. That means our working group IT was formed only in 1962 now. So very young. They did not had enough knowledge how to produce a model. So that's the reason they started auditing the models of other sector. Right. So they came across a model called waterfall. This is a fact. They came across a model called waterfall, and which was produced by Winston way back in 1965 only. He gave this model produced in 1965, and this model, what he gave, that model was called waterfall, and he gave this model for automobile industry. Automobile industry. That is what happened. So the conclusion of the story is waterfall is not native to the IT. This is a migrated model. Clear? So after auditing a lot of models of the world, they came to a conclusion that they see that waterfall seems to be suitable, or you can consider that as a base to develop the own model. That is what happened. And interestingly, waterfall is classified universal model. Do you know the reason? Tell me, guys. Why the waterfall is considered as a universal model? It has got a nickname called universal model. Any reason for this? So simple example is you take it aeronautic engineers, right? You take it mechanical engineers, you take it, let's take it our IT fellows, or you take it some XYZ engineers, or let's say electrical engineers. Somewhere in their academics, definitely they'll study about waterfall. Am I right? All mechanical engineers, guys, did you study the waterfall in your books? And even the people who are from electrical background, they will also study this model in their books. And the people who are from physics also, they also study this model in their books. The people who are from aeronautic engineers, they'll also study in their academics about this. The reason is the steps given by this model are completely very basic in nature that you can apply in every field of science. That is what happened. In every field of science, you can apply this. Likewise, our working group has determined that waterfall steps seems to be super interesting, and these steps you can apply it in IT industry. And these steps, what they derived out of waterfall, that steps we consider as a foundational study for your SDLC. That became your first SDLC. Is that's the reason first SDLC is waterfall only. So what are these steps? I'll try to write in IT style now. So after studying the waterfall by our working group, they determined that these are the steps you have to maintain. So plan, design, code, test, and maintenance. Don't you think all steps make sense in IT? So let's say, guys, you are trying to, let's say you are an electrical engineer, the same steps you will have a different names. Let's say you're a mechanical engineer, in your book you will have the similar names, similar steps with a different names, guys, but the meaning will not change. So likewise in IT industry, this is how they determine. They said that first we'll start with plan, then we'll go through the design, then we'll go through the code, then we'll go through the test, and then we'll go through the maintenance. Now, if I ask a question, do you think every steps does it make sense? Is planning required? I'm talking about our software case. Is planning required? Yeah. Is planning design is required? Coding is required? Okay. Testing of the software is required? Maintenance is required? Yep. So we got all check marks, right? So that is what is called basis now. So this is the foundational base it became a base for your IT industry. They said that every project has to carry some plan, will carry design, will carry coding process, will carry a test process, will carry a maintenance process. Now the conclusion is this whatever fundamental analysis they derived, so this became your foundational SDLC. Foundational SDLC. Now if I ask another question, something like this, is there any chance to remove any of the step here? Can you remove any step? Think, guys, you have to think. Is there any opportunity for us to remove any step here? The answer is no. Okay. The answer is frankly no. We cannot remove any step at all. Now I'll ask another question. Is there any opportunity for us to add more steps to make it better? Simple logical question. Can you add more steps to that basic stuff to make it better? The answer is yes. That is what is happening. So Waterfall said that our SDLC approach is 5 steps. Agile said that our SDLC approach is 7 steps. DevOps is saying that our SDLC approach is 9 steps. I hope you got the logic now. Over the years, things are improving. That's the matter. So once upon a time, 5 activities you do, the matter is over. In Agile, they said no, we cannot end up with 5. They brought up 2 more stages or 2 more processes in place, and that helped us to do something better. Okay. In DevOps, they said no, not even 7. We'll go with little more extra steps to make it better. They made it 9 steps. So over the couple of years, the subjective matter of SDLC is getting expanded. It is not getting contracted. It is getting expanded. So if I talk more precisely, so Waterfall is extremely focusing on quality. Agile added to that whatever previous step was doing, it was adding something called performance, right? And added to the quality and performance, DevOps is trying to add something called automation. That is what happening. So DevOps includes the quality, performance, and automation. Agile includes quality and performance. Waterfall, quality, or we can say the standards. Correct? So if I talk about the definition, guys, if I talk about the definition, so I don't like writing too much technical definitions at all. So I'll write a simple English. So let's say SDLC is a engineering practice. First of all, it's an engineering practice, okay, which provides you some steps or some process or some procedure or some strategy that you have to follow and implement when you're producing your application, or you can say in your software development. And if you implement this, what is an expected thing? The expected thing is whatever the product that you developed, right? That product will be qualitative and effective. That's the definition, guys. Am I clear on this? Shall I write one more time? Tell me, guys, shall I write one more time? So let's write one more time. So SDLC, first of all, it's an engineering practice. It's not a normal thing. First of all, it's an engineering practice. Okay. Which talks about some steps, or you can say some process, or you can say some procedure, right? Or you can say some strategy. And if you follow them or implement them when you're trying to develop your project, I'm talking more practically, when you're trying to develop your apps or software. So what happens is, if you're able to do that, then definitely the product that you guys have come out or developed definitely will be qualitative and effective. Got it now? That's the definition of your SDLC. So SDLC itself is an engineering practice which talks about some steps or a process or a procedure or strategy that you have to follow, right, in while you're developing your applications or your software. And the product that you develop definitely will be more qualitative and effective. Now the reverse engineering question, guys. So companies, or let's say you take it some software project, right? The company may follow some waterfall. Okay. The company may follow agile. The company may follow the DevOps also. It's up to them. Depends on the project demand. So don't think that all the projects in a company, they follow same model. So that is super wrong assumption. So some clients may come to you and let's say they would have good experience with agile, they will ask for agile project on it. They want the project to be developed using agile methodology. Let's say some other client may approach to you. He's more modern, you can say. So more modern thoughts. So what that guy will do? So he will ask the company to develop the project in DevOps methodology. So it all depends, guys. Got it now? Now this is what is happening in IT. So most of IT projects are migrating from agile to the DevOps. The reason is DevOps is helping us to cut down the cost, helping us to close the projects quickly, and helping us to implement the automation. So a lot of advantages are there that anyway we'll discuss in further classes when we do comparative study. But you have to think like a business owner, guys. Think like a company owner of a software company. Think like that. So if there is something benefiting in the DevOps, definitely as a company owner, I'll ask my team to migrate from agile to the DevOps. Do you agree? Yes or no, guys? Definitely, my company, let's say they are doing all projects in agile, and suddenly, as a company owner, I came to know that okay, DevOps is doing super good. Then definitely, I'll ask my team, okay, please start migrating the project from agile to the dev. So that is the reason we have demand in the market. That is the only reason, guys. Agile is also good. Don't think that agile is bad. Agile is also super good, like a Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, retired content. DevOps is like Virat Kohli. That's it. That's the only difference. So one is an X superior, or you can say agile is. See, it has survived 20 years, guys. From past 20 years, IT companies have used agile model. Now they are looking into the DevOps because there is some benefit. There is something going on in the DevOps where companies are getting attracted, or you can say they are trying to look into the DevOps for their benefit. Clear? Okay. Reverse engineering question, let's say. Like I told you, we have some companies, we always follow some process in place, some SDLC. Now, don't you think, can't we develop a software without following an SDLC? Think like this now. Reverse question. Is it possible to develop a software without SDLC? Is it yes or a no? How many of you say yes? Please raise your hands. And how many of you say no? This also you should know the database. No? So, frankly, guys, still you can produce the software even without following the SDLC. The answer is yes. But why the companies are following SDLC? That's the logic. If you can do the software without SDLC, but why the companies are using SDLC? Think about this, guys. Think about this logic question. If you can produce a software even without following an SDLC, how it makes a difference to a company when they use SDLC? So I'll tell a simple example to make you understand. Example, guys. Okay. Let's say government wants to construct a bridge. Okay. And they are asking for some bids from society. So in the bids, don't you think they will ask your information about how many projects you completed, right? How many have been successful, how many have been failed, and what, see the star rated point, what techniques you follow, or what technology you follow, or what mechanisms you follow, right? And what is the cost is associated to construct that bridge. Don't you think this is a small example to make you understand, guys, right? So when a government wants to construct a bridge, in the bids, definitely they'll ask your biodata. correct? So without these details, will you be happy to give a bid to a person who does not have an experience with the technology or with mechanism? Do you like? Are you getting the question, guys? What I'm asking? The question is super simple. Government is planning to construct a bridge, and for that bridge construction, they called some bids. A lot of people have applied, and in the bid process, will you be happy to give a project to a person who does not have an experience with the technology and experience with the mechanism? The answer is negative, right? We don't give. Never, we don't give. We don't take chances, correct? The same logic applies here. So when the client wants some application to be developed, some app to be developed, okay, big clients I'm talking about, they'll ask the bids from a lot of companies. Imagine a use case like Wipro is bidding, IBM is bidding, your Infosys is bidding, your TCS is bidding. A lot of companies will bid. But end of the day, right, when they bid, technically client will start asking the experience also. Okay, Wipro, so tell me what kind of mechanism or what kind of SDLC you guys are following. IBM, they can ask, okay, what kind of mechanisms you guys are following. So based on those details, based on that, only the client will give the project. So keep in mind, for this is a completely a business knowledge, guys. So I'm talking this point because I also teach the project management. That is the reason. In the project management studies, what happens is, so what SDLC you guys follow in your company, that also helps you to get more business as a company owner. Got it now? So that is the reason a company who follows some SDLC process in place, they will get more IT projects. A company who does not follow any SDLC projects, they will not get IT projects. I hope you understood this, because all international projects, guys, when they bid, the companies will send their biodata of their technology they can handle and their experience and their SDLC knowledge also. So that is a big game changer to bank the projects. Got it now? Are you getting the logic, guys? Forget about this subject. This is also another angle of business also. The companies, they need to have very good knowledge of technology. So the now current technology is your DevOps. So keep in mind, even without SDLC also, you can produce the project, nothing wrong. But quality will be missing. We cannot determine the quality standards. We cannot determine the process standards. But when you follow some SDLC, we can determine the standards and efficiency and performance. So that matters a lot. Okay, good, guys. Now I want to take you one example. So we'll finish off quickly and we'll conclude. So think like a project. I'll connect this example to your SDLC chapter now. So this is a very interesting one. So I want to see. So let's take it. You got a project, and the project is to, what is this? How you cook a tea? You see, the question is something like you have to make a tea. Make a tea. That is your project. Now tell me the ingredients, or tell me the things, or tell me the stuff that is helps you to reach this destination. You getting the point? This is a goal. Imagine the goal of the project is to make a cup of tea or to make a tea. Now tell me the steps, guys. What steps are required to reach this destination? This example, derivation helps you to grasp entirely SDLC now. Okay. So I got an answer. Some people say I require water. Some people say milk. Some people say sugar. Okay. Some people say gas. Yeah. Anything more? Bowl. I agree. Bowl or a pot. Anything more? Tea flavor. Mhm. Anything more, guys? Yeah. Gas or a stove you require. Cup. Mhm. Cups I would write. Anything more? Lighter is also required, I agree. Lighter or a matchbox. One important thing you guys are forgetting. What is that? You require a human being also to do all these things. Okay. HR, human resource. One guy is required. Anything more? You guys are missing one more thing. Even if I give all these things, one interesting point is missing. Don't you think you have to be aware of knowledge? That is nothing but your process, right? You need to know how to connect all these things. Now that's called process only. Okay, Ashok wants customer also. I don't know why customer. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, anything more? You want what is this? What is this quality check? I don't know what is this quality check. Okay, strainer. The next. Anything more, guys? Why you require animals? I don't know. Some people are giving animal names also. Okay. So you require what is this? Tea stall. It's also tea stall. It seems. I don't know why tea stall. Tea stall. Why, man? Okay. So let's understand this stuff, guys. Okay. So let's jump back to the question. Now tell me, from your experience, some people make the tea with water only. Some people will make the tea out of milk only. Some people will mix the both also. Am I right? You observe at your maybe your elders are doing at your home. Some people will use only water, right? Some people will only use milk. Some people mix both milk and water and make tea. Now the question comes is, what is the right option? What is right? What adding a water is correct, or adding a milk is correct, or adding both is correct? What is correct here? No, we'll all follow the standard rules and regulations only here. So tea is invented by Englishmen. According to them, water is correct option. Inventor. So initially tea was produced out of water only. Only in the Asiatic countries like India, Sri Lanka, and Philippines, these Southeast Asian countries, they started adding milk only for the taste. So the dictionary meaning of tea have to be produced from water. So that means this is a mandatory component, and milk is an optional component. Okay. Now, if you apply this logic, tell me, sugar is an mandatory or an optional? Now you have to tell me quickly. We have to end up the class in 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, this is an optional. Okay, fine. How about gas stove and gas? Okay, it's a mandatory. How about bowl and pot? Okay, it's a mandatory. How about tea flavor? It's a mandatory. Okay. How about the cups? This is where you guys have made a mistake. You have to understand the question properly. Sorry, guys. So you have to understand the question properly. So the question says that we have to make a tea, correct? I never told to serve a tea. Do you agree? There's a logical understanding. That is where the logic comes in picture. If I told you serve a tea, then I guess cups make sense. When I told only to make a tea, cups is not required. First of all, this is not required. Am I correct, guys? Please understand the question properly. Got it now? This conclusion, right? Lighter and matchbox, yeah, this is mandatory component. Human being, do you want human being here to do all these activities? Now this is mandatory. Knowledge and process. Okay, this is also mandatory. How about the customer? You have to think and answer. This is not required NR because our question never bothering about giving to others. That is NR, not required. How about quality check? Yeah, you need to check. That is mandatory. Then strainer. Strainer is not required at all. This is also not required NR. How about animals? Now this is a first of all unnecessary component. Okay, NR. How about tea stall? You want tea stall? Not required. Right? Now let's go to the derivation now. So in a simple example of a tea, right? In a simple example of a tea, we listed some items which are mandatory and we listed some items which are optional and we listed some items which are not required also, right? Now, can you tell me the reason why we have listed the items which are not required? What is the reason for this? Give me the answer, guys. Why do you think we have listed some items which are not required? No, there is a reason behind it. Can I say that goal of the project was misunderstood? Do you agree with this? See, this is very important point here. So I listed some items, though we have a lot of practical example of our life. We observe T lot of things, but we gave some question. And based on that question, we listed some items which are not required because we misunderstood the goal of the project, right? That is one of the primary reason here. Now, coming to the mandatory steps. So it given some mandatory steps here, or you can say some mandatory item that has been listed. Can you remove any of the mandatory here? The answer is no, right? Now, can you remove any, see the optional steps we listed, right? We listed some optional steps. So can we remove them? The answer is yes, right? We can remove them, nothing wrong. Can we add them to make it better? The answer is yes, right? Now correlate. We can add them to make it better. Exactly. In an IT project, right? So when the project comes into the picture, the architectural team will start preparing your SDLC or skeleton of your project. Definitely in the project will come across some steps which are mandatory in nature, will come across some steps which are optional in nature, will come across some steps which are not required also. This is what happens. So architectural team works on making your SDLC processes, guys. So at an upper level, architectural team sits on deriving what should be the skeleton of your SDLC and what should be the mandatory steps and what should be the optional steps. So this is what. Now think reverse, guys. If any architectural team is making out some unnecessary steps which are not required in the project, don't you think it will an invitation for failure, right? Correct. You analyze this, guys. This is very, very important point. Lot of companies are struggling in this area. So when they get the project, they have to take some time in understanding what should be our SDLC and what should be our mandatory steps to complete this project, and what should be the optional steps that you can try after project is live. And unknowingly they come out with some steps which are not required also. That is where the failure comes in picture. So that is the reason a lot of companies, what they do is, once the project they derive their SDLC, they want some external auditors to audit the project. This is one of the primary reason. They'll hire some external companies, or you can say auditors, so that they can review this stuff what you guys are doing. They give the review. Any corrections are required, they'll give the reviews. Now, so that is one side of business. But when you talk about the definition here, so whatever the steps you considered as mandatory, only those steps will be part of SDLC definition. That's it. Don't think that every step in the project is an SDLC. That is what I'm trying to tell you here. So every step in a project is not an SDLC, guys. So whatever the mandatory steps that you do, that I can say that this is a skeleton, which you have to do it mandatory. So that skeleton structure, what activities that you're trying to do in the project skeleton structure, that defines your SDLC, or that becomes your SDLC for your project. So if that is the case, can I say SDLC from this understanding? Now you tell me, guys, is an SDLC is a dynamic or a static? What is correct? Is a dynamic or a static? It's a dynamic. It's not static. It's a dynamic. So keep in mind all SDLC projects that you get. So once you convert that in SDLC style, you derive your mandatory steps. That becomes your skeleton of your project, that we call it as an SDLC now. And everything is dynamic. Got it now? That's the reason. That's the reason no two projects of the world are same. That is one of the reason. If SDLC would have been static, then if a person moves from one project to the another project, then he will not face any trouble. Since it is the concept itself is dynamic, so whatever the steps that you've done in one project, right, you may not find the same steps being followed in another project. Am I true, guys? We don't find at all. We find some similarities, but we don't do exactly the same. All working people, please tell me your opinions. Is this correct or wrong? If SDLC would have been static subject, then if you're migrating from one project to another project, you should not have any trouble at all. Am I right? So even though you're experienced or fresher does not matter. So once you move from one project to the another project, what happens is you have to relook into the project, redefine or understand what the dynamics are here, what are the core components, what are the steps we are following, and what is a dynamic here. So that is the reason SDLC comes under the dynamic ability, or you can say it's completely dynamic subject. It's not a static. Are we clear on this SDLC now? What is SDLC stuff? So simple logic. Do not be under wrong impression that every activity that you do is a part of SDLC. No. Whatever the component that are listed as mandatory configuration or mandatory steps or mandatory process or procedure, that comes under the definition of SDLC. And that is purely dynamic. It is not static. Okay. So today we just focused on only on the understanding of SDLC, guys. We never went into the waterfall nor into the agile. So tomorrow is a Sunday, no class, but on Monday we'll start looking into the waterfall. So we'll try to analyze what happens in plan, design, everything, and then we'll move on to the waterfall. So tomorrow is Saturday. Okay, sorry, I forgot. Tomorrow is Saturday, then you have the class. Okay. So it is common. So tomorrow is a Saturday, guys. So you have the class as usual. If it is Sunday, no class. Well, so please be informed that you have class tomorrow. Any questions for me from today's class? Please raise your doubts. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, Yashwant is asking what is a platform plus DevOps plus cloud? Okay, simple logic, man. So let's say you are a test engineer. Okay, imagine you are a test engineer, you have an experience of 10 years. Don't you think that is your core experience? Right? Your core experience core experience is called as primary skill set. Sitting on your core experience, you are trying to expand your DevOps knowledge. So there are some jobs in the market where they look at your primary skill set, maybe in another subject, and they want to have little DevOps knowledge also for you. Got it? So that is what I mean to say, Yashwant. What is Siddharth? What's your question, man? Is it compatible with iPhones? What does it mean? I don't know. Your question is unclear even for me. So this is a question I'm getting from Siddharth. Please frame your question correctly. What does it mean by is it compatible with iPhones? Okay, so Pedisri, I'm getting your question, so let me put it on board. Platform means I'm bothering about your experience, huge experience. Okay. So can I attend a DevOps parallel with the cloud? The answer is positive. But keep in mind, Sri Cloud, that any course, whether you take it AWS or a DevOps or Azure, each course require 3 hours a day reserve. So if you go with DevOps 3, if you go with Azure 3. So let's say you're taking Azure and DevOps, so 3 plus 3. So check your time availability for day and plan accordingly. Okay. Each course you need to reserve 3 hours. That's it. 3 plus 3 offer. If you want to go add one more, you can do based on your availability and patience also, because you need to find time for practice also. Okay, Sanjeev, I'm getting question. Sanjeev, sir, I'm having 15 years of experience as DBA. Should I go for DevOps or cloud? So if I were in your position, if I were your well-wisher, then I would answer for you, go for a cloud, not for DevOps. Because if you see the market understanding well, or if you analyze it properly, so there is a lot of demand for DBS who know the cloud knowledge. So hosting of DBS traditional way of data center is going out, and they are looking for the talented people who can host the same stuff on the cloud. Okay. So try to go with the cloud, maybe an AWS or an Azure or any other. But if you want to learn DevOps, you're encouraged. But if you're talking about sitting in your 15 years of experience, then cloud should be your first choice. Clear? That's for you, Sanjay. Okay, then who is this? Saeed. Saeed's a question I want to take.